Well, I was actually a really late reader. I never read as a child. Even though I wrote stories, I did not read. And I remember my mother offering 10 cents a page if I would finish The Railway Children on holiday. She had to bribe me to read, and it really wasn't until I got into my HSC English year and could no longer avoid actually opening the text that I discovered it. And I think the first book I ever read was Emma, and I was like, oh, actually this is quite an enjoyable pursuit. And then within 3 months I was in an English degree, and then it was a passion after that. But it makes me feel encouraged for any parents who are worried that their children aren't readers and that they'll turn into petty criminals. You can still turn out okay if you weren't a reader as a child.
I fell in love with books as a child. I had a fantastic librarian at primary school. She'd lead us up the stairs to the library. It was like in a tower, and she would make sure we'd all be very quiet. And underneath the sofa, to keep us quiet, she told us there was a sleeping dragon, and she did murals on the walls, and we could come in the morning and borrow books anytime. It was like a beautiful book space, and that's when I fell in love with books.
I can remember being a bookworm from the time I was a child, sneaking away from the rest of the family to read in a tree, that kind of thing. But my love for books was really reignited again when I started reading to my children.
When we were very young, we used to get put into bed and told we can read for an hour, and it was like that was a gift. And later on, when I was older, I realised that was just like a really good way to get kids to bed quickly. So, but that habit of reading every night for an hour kind of instilled in me a love of reading.
I fell in love with books when I learned to read. In kindergarten, I just didn't get it. I didn't get letters or words. It wasn't clicking with me. And then one day, my little best friend Matthew at lunchtime sat down with me with a book, and for some reason, it took another 5-year-old to teach me the basics, because after that lunchtime with Matthew, it all suddenly clicked for me. And from that moment on, I was obsessed. I read everything all the time. So thanks to Matthew Fordham, Kent Road Public School, 1991.
I fell in love with books before I could read them. I used to just sit. I was a really late walker, and I was bald until I was like about 2. So I was just like this bald, lumpy little child, and I'd just sit there and just turn pages in books.